Hey guys, it's Sheriden here, and today I'm bringing you a guide for the first boss found in the newest operation, Explosive Conflict. This will cover the story mode version, so keep an eye out on the channel for a hard mode and nightmare additional video later on. Don't forget to be subscribed so you won't miss it. This encounter consists of two immediate bosses named Toth and Zorn. These guys patrol around, so make sure you keep your distance to avoid ninja pulls. There has been a lot of discussion at the moment of two different kinds of strategies for the encounter. I'll explain both in this guide, so you can pick which is best for your setup and your guild. But first, let's explain the mechanics of the fight. Whenever the two bosses are close together, they will gain a DPS buff. It is therefore vital that you tank each of these bosses at either end of the fighting area. Try to position Zorn on the left and Toth on the right, up against the rock walls. This prevents the tanks from being knocked back a long distance. This ability seems to have multiple aspects. First, Zorn will channel this ability towards the tank for about 14 seconds. Your tank can kite him around, but watch out not to turn him into the raid. During this time, he will deal constant AoE damage every few seconds to the whole raid. Red circle marks will target the ground, and shortly after, spiked rocks will erupt from under them. The hit area is often wider than what the markings show, so you should move far away from them as possible. Zorn will throw the rocks to anyone within 30 meters of him while Torn is in Berserk. This can be avoided, but is not recommended due to a DPS loss and a tight rage timer. When Toth berserks, he will deal additional damage to the tank. If you have healing issues, you can easily kite him around, or alternatively, use your cooldowns and heal through it. Toth will do AoE damage to anyone close to him. It hits much harder during Berserk, so watch out. Toth will leap to Zorn, and anyone within 25 meters of the impact radius will receive a debuff called Fearful, which doubles all incoming damage to them. The leap is triggered when either Toth or Zorn reach the following health percentages: 85%, 65%, 45%, 25%, and 5%. That's it for the mechanics. Now, time for some strategies. The first strategy is a sound tactic for any DPS setup. Divide your raid into two 4-man groups. Each group should consist of a tank, a healer, and 2 DPS. Every time Toth leaps to Zorn, the two groups should switch positions and targets. This prevents anyone with the Fearful debuff being near Zorn, and remove any chance of a 1 or 2 shot death because of it. The group which starts on Toth will always be the one that is attacked by Zorn's rock throw, so you can build that group accordingly and always know which group needs heals during this attack. For example, you could take a sniper and use their shield cooldown during the rock throw, therefore helping the healers a lot. While this strategy might mean a DPS loss due to movement and target switching, it helps the healers very much and is a lot less forgiving for mistakes. The second strategy requires you to have 2 melee DPS and 2 ranged DPS. Put your 2 ranged DPS on Zorn and your 2 melee DPS on Toth throughout the entire fight. Your tanks will still have to switch bosses though, but everyone else will stay on their current target. Healers and ranged DPS can sit in the middle between the two bosses and not have to move around. This means more heals, more DPS, and less distraction. It allows everyone to focus on their rotations and surroundings much better. However, they must be sure that they are out of range of Toth's leap impact radius, or else risk dying from the Fearful debuff when the bosses use one of their AoE abilities. This strategy requires careful positioning to pull off. Anyone caught by the Fearful debuff will need to be extra careful not to be hit by the red circles and the other abilities or risk being one-shot. You will also need to make sure that both DPS groups kill the bosses at about the same time, or else you'll risk deaths on a soft enrage when one of them dies. Once you've killed both Toth and Zorn, an NPC will jump down from the cliff who commanded them. He is basically a tank and spank, and you won't have any problems unless both your tanks are dead. That's about it for this fight and the guide. I'd like to bring you a hard mode and nightmare version as soon as possible, as it does involve additional mechanics and requires altered strategies. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, leave me some feedback and any additional tips you might have for your fellow raiders. See you next time.